You are tuned in to G5 Jeff TV. Listen, get your drink, get your popcorn, get all of that. Sit your ass down and get some of this boxing talk today. We got a whole bunch to talk about. As you can see, we got the VP here with us. Shane, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, I missed out yesterday, I'm not gonna lie to you. When Jeff went live, I was in the second trimester of my sleep, bro. So I didn't even I, I didn't even watch I'm like Jeff will tell you, I stay up for most fights, but yesterday I just didn't have it in me to stay up for that. But I love the fight, and I was excited for the fight before, but I just didn't have it in me to stay up.
Yeah, listen, I went on last night. It probably was like 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, which means it was 7 something in the morning out there in the
Bro,
UK.
when I woke up,
Right.
you just came off live. Literally, it literally said streamed 1 minute ago. I'm like, oh
Yo.
no, that's annoying.
Yeah, man. I was on here cooking with BoxingFirst Vlog. Big shout out to the homie. But we got a whole lot to talk about today. Juan Francisco Estrada and Chocolatito. Did Chocolatito get robbed? David Benavidez dominating Ronald Ellis. A new popular guy in boxing, Isaac Cruz Gonzalez. He got a victory as the co-main event on David Benavidez card. We also
Family of the
had,
channel. Family
yeah,
of the channel.
he is definitely family of the channel. We'll explain why
But
a little bit
we
later.
to be honest, I know you're gonna get to this, but I feel like it's only right we start by just doing it the right way. Marvin Hagler, bro. That's the right way.
Yes. Rest in peace to one of the GOATs, one of the greatest boxing fighters to ever lace him up. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Just a consummate professional, a complete legend inside and outside of the ring, man. It hurt my heart hearing that he passed away, man. We losing so many people just in the world, period, but like especially in boxing, man. And we all know that Shane is a young man, and Marvin Hagler was really like out there, like really like before his time. But Shane know just as much about boxing as almost anybody.
What
I'll
you what you
put a
what you
stamp on that.
what you got to understand is like one thing I always say is Marvin Hagler had the best name there is, in my opinion. He had the
Mm-hmm.
best name because I he was it defined who he was. He was
Right.
marvelous. Like literally, when anybody asks me to describe Marvin Hagler, I say marvelous because
Yes.
literally he was literally marvelous. Like there's certain people, and I was saying this the other day. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how far fetched is it to say that Marvin Hagler was arguably one of the best in the world at his peak? How far fetched is it to say?
It's not far
He's
fetched.
definitely an all-time great. He's definitely an
Yes.
all-time great. And the thing is, like certain people I look at and I'm thinking, okay, they had their day and they and they had their day, but the sport moves on. I feel like the sport has never moved on from Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, and um, Roberto Duran. The reason why I say that is because when I look at fighters and I look at the modern era, you never ever get an era like that. And I'm telling you, I'm a modern fan. Like I love modern boxing, and there's
Right.
not. I would say in the last 10 years, there's a handful of people that's followed the sport as much as I have, and one of them's on the live with me right now.
Right.
Literally, Marvin Hagler, to me, like you don't make those guys were genetically predisposed to lace up gloves. They were genetically like for before they were born, they were made to be boxers. And the reason why I say that is because even after boxing, certain people like Floyd, and AB and stuff like that, when they retire or they come out of the sport, they don't you don't really their career doesn't really go on to anything because they can't live without boxing. They ended up just doing whatever, like making a
Correct.
mockery or whatever. But with
Right.
someone like Marvin Hagler, he was just a professional in and outside the ring. He was just a professional, even in his old age. to me, he was just a professional. Like, he just conducted himself with so much class. That's the best way to say it, man. He's marvelous, literally marvelous, marvelous.
Yeah, that's definitely well said. For me, Marvelous Marvin Hagler was I felt like he was a part of my household growing up. Um, Literally, because for anybody that doesn't know me or the channel, basically I was introduced to boxing at the age of 7. My uncle, Junior, God rest his soul, he put me on. He sent me to my first fight at the legendary Blue Horizon here in Philly, and
How
Charles
old was you?
Brewer. I was 7. I was 7 years old, and the Blue Horizon was it was a historic building. It was very small, but it was one of them setups where the upper deck was actually a better view than ringside.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
like the
very,
York Hall. That's like the York Hall in England. York Hall's like
yeah,
that as well.
you're right. It's a similar layout. And I know when my uncle was teaching me about boxing, it was that era. It was Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, Duran, of course, a bunch of other people, but those were the ones that, were basically embedded in my brain in terms of, you're going to learn the sport of boxing. These are the guys that you need to know. These are guys you need to study. This is how you carry yourself inside of the ring and outside of the ring. So I feel like Marvin Hagler was the beginning of my own personal boxing existence. Also, I read a story. It was told by Stephen Bradman on Twitter. Big shout out to Bradman. And that's the trainer of Kyron Davis and former trainer of Julian J. Rock Williams. He said that when Marvelous Marvin Hagler, I guess he was making, like big time money as far as fights, his managers or his trainers basically said that we're only going to charge you a flat fee. We're not going to do the 10% or whatever the percentage was. And Marvin Hagler, he's so much of a stand-up guy. He told them, he said, no, you're not going to take a flat fee. You're going to take a percentage like you always have. And if you don't take a percentage, then I'm going to fire you. That's, if you need the definition of marvelous, like that's a
But what you
prime
got to
example.
understand, like, even when I look at when he lost, and I look at when he lost to Sugar Ray Leonard, and I'm like, there's certain people that when they lose, and they when they lose, they just lose with so much class. That's why, bro, I don't care what anybody says. Having a loss on your record doesn't mean anything if you react well to it. I Progray right now is one of my favorite fighters solely and truly because of how he took his loss and how
Right.
Hagler took his loss. He had all right to say, you know what, this guy ran, this guy was a coward. He could have called him all the names in a pot in the world, but he's Marvin Hagler and he's just so humble with it. Like, there's not one bad word I've ever heard. Like, to be fair, my dad was a mad Sugar Ray Leonard fan. He was a crazy Sugar Ray Leonard fan. And there's two fighters my dad loved, Sugar Ray Leonard and Lennox Lewis. My dad loved Sugar Ray Leonard. And growing up, my dad used to tell me about Sugar Ray Leonard, and he always used to use the Marvin Hagler fight. And I'm a massive Floyd fan. Anybody knows me, massive Floyd fan. I always say Floyd's the greatest fighter of all time. But I always say to my dad, Floyd will beat Sugar Ray Leonard. My dad will be like, no. If Sugar Ray Leonard can beat Hagler, then Sugar Ray Leonard can beat Mayweather. And in his eyes, he's like, Hagler's a beast. There's nobody that can beat Hagler. And if
Right.
Leonard beat Hagler, that means that, and that's how my dad used to say it. And that's how I knew that Hagler was an animal, because he always used Hagler as a barometer of success. You see my
Right.
point? And that's
Right.
something that I found that, like, yeah, man, it definitely, there's a tribute video that's definitely coming. I mean, Jeff's known for his
Yeah.
tribute video, so
Yeah. I actually want to take some time and actually do this one right. And figure out the right music to play in the background and how I want it laid out. So hopefully I'll have that up by tomorrow. But yeah, Marvin Hagler was an absolute legend. Big shout out to King Louis. The family is in the building. King Louis says salute. R.I.P. the best. Marvelous Marvin Hagler last night. Boxing got in its own way again. That's 100% facts. We're going to speak on that in a moment. Yeah, Hagler
What's
is
the news?
just...
What's the news, bro? You said you had some news for me. Bro, I don't know who's frozen. Someone tell me if it's me frozen or Jeff frozen. Put in the comments if it's me. I don't even know if it's me or Jeff. It looks like it's Jeff. It looks like it's Jeff. Someone put in the comments if it's me frozen or Jeff frozen. Yeah, this is... If it's me... Is it me? King Louis, is it me frozen or is it Jeff frozen? Oh, it looks like it's me that it was Jeff frozen. Yeah. Oh, it's Jeff. Thanks. Sule, you said it's Jeff frozen. Oh, thank you. Jeff's gonna probably have to jump back in. I don't know how he, as the host, literally jumped out. But it's fine. It's all good. I mean, the topics were basically Marvin Hagler, Estrada, and David Benavidez. But before we got to that, Jeff was going to tell me that he had some news. Like there's some kind of breaking news that happened. I literally don't know what that news is. I literally don't know. We can still hear Shane and see you, Shane. Yeah, that's Frankie. I'm just reading the comments out. So Sule, thank you for commenting. Adrian, thank you for commenting. King Louis, thank you for commenting. I'm hoping Jeff can just jump straight back in. I literally don't know how this is working because he's the host. So if he's jumped out, I literally can't accept him back in. I don't know how that works, but it's all good. As I was saying, yeah, that was basically the topics. But one, he was supposed to be telling me some kind of breaking news that happened. I literally don't know. He looks like he's jumping back in. I don't know what happened there, Jeff. What happened?
That was from my end. The Wi-Fi went out for a quick second. I do apologize that happened.
No, it's all good. The guys in the comments were kind of updating me because I didn't know if it was me or you. But it's all good.
That was me. That was me. Let me get through the comments real quick. Adrian said, "What's up, fellas?" Adrian, what's going on?
That's what this is when I was asking who it was. I was asking who was frozen, me or Jeff, and they were just updating me.
Okay. Big shout out to everybody that's up in here. Big shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Technical difficulty for a quick second. But to the news. Chocolatito and Estrada. We know there was a scorecard that was quite foul. 117, 111. Guy's name was Carlos Sucre. And the WBA has announced that they has suspended Carlos Sucre for his scorecard. That is the news that I have.
That makes sense. The reason why that makes sense is because you got to remember that Chocolatito was the WBA champion going into the fight. So they're going to defend their champion.
Yeah, for sure. Hold on, and let me get to this real quick before I continue. YSM say I'm going to take a break from applying pressure to Shane to show Marvin Hagler some love. Always. Big shout out to YSM Sports Media. Yo, let me tell you something real quick, yo. So YSM hit me up, right? He said, "Yo," he's like, "What you doing?" I'm like, I'm at PennDOT. I gotta get my license renewed. He like, "Yo, how long you gonna be?" I was like, 45 minutes to an hour. Yo, bro, I was literally in there for 3.5 hours. I was in there for 3.5 hours getting my license renewed. They only had one camera. They only had one camera because I had to get my whole card redone. So they had one camera. It was like, but they didn't tell us until we got inside. I literally had to wait for like 30 people ahead of me that was all waiting for cars, man. Like when I say I was annoyed, yo, I was annoyed. And YSM was like, he was going to the gym. It was a big sparring day too. And I got YSM, I gotta call you too.
YSM,
So we can
I
chop it up
literally have
about
to
that.
ask you, what do you want me to do? What do you want to debate me about? Like, I'm literally asking you live on camera. What do you want? I don't understand. Like, I have Blunt. He wants me and Jeff to debate. I have a guy on Lowdown's channel who want me to debate, and now YSM's been at my neck. Literally, I feel like Canelo right now. I feel like everybody's after me, but I literally don't know what YSM is after me for. You're
Well,
gonna have to tell me what you want.
I'll let him answer it because I know he's listening. I'll let him answer it. And it's the thing is, it's the reason he's doing it is like it's not even like 100% accurate, to be honest with you. Like in terms of who you are, but I'm gonna let him say it though.
So he's told you before.
Yeah, he's told me.
All right, cool. That's calm. Let's
Yeah,
go.
he's told me. All
Let's
right.
get to the topic. Let's get to the
So
topics.
Carlos Sucre has been suspended by the WBA for his scorecard. What's your thoughts on that?
Again, I understand why the WBA done it, because you have to understand that that's their champion. They're defending their champion. Chocolatito was a champion going into the WBA champion going into the fight, and he's lost the strap, which could mean that obviously Estrada's allegiance is with the WBC. If he drops that, obviously there's a chance that, let's say, um let's just say he loses sanctioning fees. There's a potential that they lose sanctioning fees, and we know how it goes. These governing bodies just want to look out for their own money. So I just feel like it's a good gesture, though. Like they're at least putting some quality control on these judges, because we've seen some bad decisions. But I will say this, yeah. When I look back at it, the reason why I'm so annoyed with 117, 111 is the same reason why I was annoyed with the two judges that gave AB the first round, even though he didn't land a punch. The reason why is because I look at that, and Jeff told me this judge gave Estrada round 12. Now I don't care what fight. I don't care what fight you were watching, and I don't think the fight was a robbery. I thought Chocolatito won, but I don't think it was a robbery. I don't understand how you give a Chocolatito. You don't give Chocolatito that 12th round. I was watching that fight, and I'm literally thinking, Jeff told me this fight was a robbery, so I'm going into the fight, and I had it 6-5. And after watching that 12th round, that 11th round, I thought, no, not 11th round, the 12th round, I thought, oh, that's why Jeff said it was a robbery, because Chocolatito won that last round clearly, so clear. It was one of his clearest rounds.
Yeah, Estrada got his ass whipped in the 12th round. Like he got his ass handed to him in the 12th round. Like, I mean, it was bad. Like it was like school like after school type ass whooping. Like Chocolatito put it on him in the 12th round. Like it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? But for the people that don't know, Carlos Sucre, his Carlos Sucre, his
put the link in the chat.
I got you. Carlos Sucre's card. I'm gonna read off his card, which is gonna be very quick. Carlos Sucre gave Chocolatito the following rounds. He gave him round 4, round 5, and round 7.
Can I tell you why that's so crazy? Because round 7 was actually a swing round, and he actually gave it to Chocolate. I find that so crazy, bro. To me, I definitely gave him round 3 and round 4, but I don't see how. I mean, round 4 and round 5. I don't see how you don't give him round 3, but round 12, bro. I don't think you on. Literally, round 12 was the most one side. Round 12 and round 11 were the most one-sided rounds of the whole. Round 11 was clear Estrada. Round 12 was clear Chocolatito. Those 2 rounds were the clearest rounds in the whole fight. The clearest rounds in the whole fight.
Yeah, I can honestly say the 11th and 12th round might have been both of their best rounds in the fight. Like I can make the argument. I can make the argument that Chocolatito's best round was the 12th, and Estrada's best round was the 11th. Let me get to these comments. Wyatt, I'm gonna put the link in there in just a moment, bro. Sewell A, big shout out to you, bro. He said it's a big story involving Roman being Nicaraguan and the Carlos 117-111 judge is Venezuelan. It's some sort of political beef because of the political
that's
party
true. That's true.
Roman was supporting during his ring walk.
That's true, because you got to remember these countries are like neighboring countries. So that I would you got to remember as well. A lot of those countries, there's a lot of shady stuff that goes on in there. Me personally, I would have had that those judges all Eastern European. I would have had no Mexican affiliation with none of them, because it's a bit all from like Australia, all over the world, other than in Central America and South America.
Yeah, Sewell A, definitely big shout out to you for bringing that information, because I didn't even know that. I didn't read anything about that. But if that's the case, to be honest with you, you can request another judge. Like, you can petition for a judge to be removed if you got a good enough reason.
But do you know why that's so crazy? Because I've been to a fight, yeah. I've been to a fight where Mauricio Suleiman was there. I was ringside. Mauricio Suleiman was there, and he did not approve of the judges, and he stripped his belt from the tie. He said he doesn't want his belt on the line. He said the belt was supposed to be on the line. He didn't agree with the judges that were at the fight, and he said the fight won't be for. He refused to sanction the fight, and he refused to make the belt be on the line for the fight.
What card was that? Because I remember talking to you about that when you was there.
That was Gravatsky versus Bradis, and Bradis was supposed to fight for WBO and WBC, and they removed the judges off the. And Kalle Sauerland told me that when I done an interview with him. He told me that to himself. He said the WBC, which is Mauricio Suleiman, who was there, he didn't want a certain judge on judging that fight. So he literally took his belt and said it won't be on the line anymore. So to me, either they weren't privy to that or they didn't care. So I just think the WBA, they must have just not known about the political situation, because if they did, they have all right to take their belt and not make it like up for grabs.
Yeah, and the fact that that's even a topic in the sport, it just goes to show that the sport just needs to be regulated on all levels. Like, when you have stuff like this, like, you don't have to worry about that in football. Like, you don't have to worry about that in basketball or baseball.
Put the link in there. Did you send YSM the link already?
I'm about to send it to him right now.
Chocolatito 184, easy to me.
That's how I had it. Go ahead, Shane. Go ahead.
King Louis. I personally had it 7-5 to Chocolatito, but I said this to Jeff. I understand why a judge. Personally, I could understand if you gave it a draw, because there was a few rounds where I was thinking it depends on what you like. Like, Chocolatito was clearly coming with that pressure, clearly coming with that work rate. And he was the more comfortable person in that fight. He definitely looked the most comfortable. But Estrada, he was landing a lot of clean power shots. And some people actually like that. Some judges actually like that. So I could understand if you gave it a draw. I could even understand it if you gave it 170, 7-5. I could even understand that. I didn't have it 7-5 to Estrada, but I could understand, because there were certain rounds I thought Chocolatito won, but Estrada did get off some good work as well. There wasn't one round where I thought, other than the 12th round, that I thought Estrada didn't get off good work as well. So that's why I feel like I can understand if you gave it a draw.
Yeah, I had an 8 for Chocolatito. I could see 7-5. I couldn't see 6-6 or 7-5. Estrada. Let me get the Sewell A comment. Roman was wearing a presidential party on his shirt during the ring walk. Some people were speculating if Carlos' scorecard would be different if Roman wasn't wearing that shirt. Netflix doc type stuff. I want to comment on that. Give me a second. Let me send this to YSM.
I mean, conspiracies are very, very very common in the sport. And I'm not gonna say it's a lie. I just don't have enough information on it to say can this be made.
I'm not going. I mean, I don't know, bro. Sue A, could you give us your opinion on that? Because I'm kind of up in
We
the
could
air
actually
about it.
send you a link. I'm not even gonna lie. You could just literally
So
send
you
you a
know
link.
what? You know what? Fuck it. Hold on.
Sule, you might as well. Cause I'm literally. This is the first time I'm hearing it.
Yo, that's
And
the
plus,
first time I've heard that. So if you want to
I
Sue
live
A,
in
if you
the
want to
UK,
jump in,
so you got to remember that a lot of this stuff that happens in like Central America is so alien to what happens in boxing in
yeah.
the UK.
Yeah, so that's news to us. So we put the link in the chat. So Sewell A, if you want to jump on, if you don't want to show your background or your face or anything, you could just turn the camera off. If you want to jump on and speak about that. Hold on. Sewell A said, I'll chop off my hand if you can show me 7 rounds Estrada won. The fact that Estrada was given the 12th solidified the fix. Facts.
Oh yeah,
Facts.
no, 100%. I definitely didn't think what's it called? Strada won that 12th round. But there were cool. I'll give you my scorecard. I gave Estrada round 1 and round 2. I gave Chocolatito round 3, round 4, round 5. I gave Estrada round 6. So after 6 rounds, I did 3-3. Then I gave Chocolatito round 7. I gave Estrada round 8. So after 8 rounds, I had it 4 apiece. Then, wait, did I give, who did I give the round 8? I can't even remember. I think, all I know
You
is
gave
after 8
round
rounds,
8 to Chocolatito. You gave
oh
round
yeah, I
8 to
gave round 8 to
Chocolatito.
Chocolatito. I gave Estrada round 7. I know me and Jeff went back and forth on that one. So it was
Right.
4-4 after 8 rounds. That's how I had it. And then I gave round 9, round 10 to Chocolatito. And I gave round 11 to Estrada and round 12 to Chocolatito. So I had it 7-5. But there was one round which Jeff was saying, which was round 8, that he had Chocolatito winning. No, he had Estrada winning, which I said if I watch it back and I see Estrada winning, then my scorecard will be 6-6. But I personally saw it 7-5 to Chocolatito.
Hold on, hey Shane. Before we continue, I got to give a proper introduction. My brother, he makes sure I'm straight. You know, as far as a boxing thing, he makes sure I'm just straight. Period. One of the best boxing channels in the business. One of the best people in the business. My bro, YSM Sports Media. What's going on, Mill?
What's good, yo?
What's
What's
good,
good?
yo?
What's good? What's
Talk
good?
I
your
was
shit, bro.
I was chilling off of Shane because of Marvin Hagler, but Shane wanted pressure, and I don't understand why
I
Shane
just
wanted pressure.
want YSM. I literally just wanted to know what you had beef with me about. That's literally it.
No,
I just
all
wanted
right.
to know what was your grievance with me. That's the right word.
So first, I don't have a grievance with you, Shane. Right? I think you're very good. I think you have a lot of potential. But one of the reasons why I troll you is because you swear you know everything, and it's hilarious to me because I remember being that guy, being young and swearing I know everything, and honestly, I didn't know shit.
I get you.
So
I get you, bro.
yeah,
I get you, bro.
so
One of the
I
things,
gotta
one of the
troll
things.
you, yo.
No, bro, it's all good. It's all good. Actually, bro, your channel is fantastic. So literally, there's no hate. Personally, I know. To me, it's just enthusiasm. So my enthusiasm can come across as arrogance, but I actually just
I
have a lot of enthusiasm.
hey Shane, let me tell you this real quick. I told YSM, I said, yo, I said Shane might be the most knowledgeable young person when it come down to the sport of boxing that I know. I said, and the key is young person. But I'm like, he's in a great space because he has people like me. He has people like you. He has people that's actually inside of the sport of boxing to where a couple years from now, like he can be on that stage where he's looked at as like one of the prominent journalists, you know, around. But I told YSL, I said, listen, I said Shane is young, and I'm like, Shane knows a lot, but I'm like, Shane feel like he can win every single argument. I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't say. I said you can't say. I said you can't. I'm like, you can't tell Shane he's not gonna win a debate. It don't matter what the topic is in boxing. He's
Bro,
gonna think
if
he's
this is
gonna
the
win
thing,
every single debate. That's
this is
just.
the
But I'm
thing,
like,
bro.
that's him. No, that's
No, but
him.
this
Go
is the
ahead,
thing,
Shane. Go
bro.
ahead. Go ahead.
This is the thing. I don't disagree with. I rarely disagree with people when it comes to boxing. I'm just very enthusiastic about my opinion. So I push my opinion so hard. But I rarely disagree with people unless someone says something straight off the straight out of left field. Then that's why I disagree. But I rarely disagree with people. But go ahead, YSM.
All right, wait.
I,
I need to. I got two things. First,
please.
one thing you have to start doing is you got to step outside yourself, because I think we were talking about the Daniel Kinahan thing, and I was like, step outside yourself, see it from a different perspective. You sometimes have like a narrow view of a certain subject, a certain topic, especially when it comes to UK stuff. And I try to get you to see like different vantage points. But I'm gonna give you an example of a guy that thought he knew something and then got checked by an older guy. So I'm having a conversation with Ben Thompson, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're having a debate, and we're talking about, I think we were talking about, A side, B side stuff. And I'm talking about pay-per-view and why this guy should be the A side, and he's telling me it's more integral parts in negotiations than what I think. But me, I feel like I'm knowledgeable. So he hits me with you ever see a pay-per-view contract before? So I'm like,
yeah.
No. He's like, I have. So then I had to shut up.
Right.
There is levels to this, and each year is going to be another level, because things that I thought 2 years ago isn't anything how I think now. Like this sport is woo.
Yeah, hold on. Hey Shane, hold on. Let me get in here real quick, Shane. Hey Mill, remember we was on the phone. It was me, it was you, and it was Shido, and we literally was talking about Top Rank and their whole situation as far as how they conduct business, things like that, right?
Yeah.
And you was pissed off because you had to get off the phone. I literally told you, I said,
did this guy freeze again? YSM, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're freezing, Jeff. I don't know what is going on with your internet.
Go ahead, say that. Rewind back the last 10, 15 seconds.
And he froze again. He's literally froze again. I don't know if he's because he's in somewhere in his house. He's
Sub-Zero wins.
Okay.
No, we can't hear you and we can't see you. I don't know what's going on, Jeff.
Yeah, right now you stuck licking your lips like oh.
YSM, what's it called? Who do you think won the fight yesterday?
All right, don't be bad, but I fell asleep.
I fell asleep myself.
Okay,
I watched it back in the morning.
Yeah, I fell asleep. I gotta watch it. The last fight, I wanted to see Benavidez and Ronald Ellis, because I wanted to see how Benavidez reacted after missing weight. I don't think Benavidez is that good.
Did he miss weight again?
No, he made weight, but I wanted to see. Remember, he missed weight last time, and I wanted to see what kind of shape was he gonna come in.
Yeah. That's how he lost his belt, isn't it? That's how he lost his strap.
Yeah, I don't think Benavidez is as good as what people think. Like I think Canelo.
We'll wait to address that, because Jeff likes Benavidez, but personally, I'm not. I like Benavidez' style because he's very entertaining, but I still feel like there's a lot. I feel like he's a weight bully, and I said this to Jeff. I just feel like he's a weight bully.
Yes, he is. There's a reason why he don't go up to 175 is because that style's not working against them guys at 75. They'll kill him.
Of course not. And I feel like if you look at the fighters he's fought, he hasn't fought enough. To me, he hasn't fought enough power hitters, power punches, single shots, guys who got a good single, you can put him out with a one shot, or guys who go to the body enough. He hasn't fought enough. Me personally, watching him, I know we probably would have won this fight, but I would have loved to see him versus Chris Eubank Jr.
I'm sure he beat Eubank Jr.
What did you say?
I said I'm not sure he beat Eubank Jr.
I mean, when I look back at that Eubank Jr. When I look at Eubank Jr., I just feel like that come forward fight style that he has, you're gonna have to fight against someone who has a much better engine and much quicker hands, and his punch resistance is pretty good. I just feel like it'll just, if he doesn't lose, it will at least expose certain flaws that I haven't seen any other fighter expose.
For me, in order to beat Eubank Jr., you need to have a jab.
Yeah.
If you don't have a jab, you're not beating Eubank Jr. Sorry. Like if you look at the dudes that he had problems with, Billy, and he had problems with George Groves.
Yeah,
dudes that jab a lot. Benavidez don't jab. Benavidez walks straight in, and he's like a human wall. I'm bigger than you, so I'm gonna absorb your shots, and I don't think you can take mine. So that's your strategy. I think Canelo Alvarez is gonna make him miss and destroy those ribs. He's gonna put his ribs on a slab. I'm talking about it's gonna be honey barbecue. It's gonna be all kinds of spices on them ribs.
I mean, on the last live, Jeff was saying how he thought that Benavidez will beat Zurdo Ramirez, and I was telling him I can't see it. I can't see how he beats Zurdo Ramirez.
Nah, Zurdo. I think I don't even like Zurdo, but with
like
Benavidez, with Benavidez style, Zurdo might be too big for that. I think
he's gonna be again. He's a weight bully. He just fights a lot of small guys. He's just not that strong, and that's the consistency of his career. He just doesn't fight physically strong fighters.
Hey yo, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Finally.
Yo, bro. When I say Xfinity, if y'all don't give us a sponsorship, I'm calling y'all the hell out, man, because I'm paying for the highest goddamn Wi-Fi y'all got. And that shit is cutting out, man. That shit got me tight right now. That shit got me tight. What we talking about?
Talking about, get to the comments, and then we're talking about Jeff. We're talking about Benavidez.
Okay. Luis Payan, what's going on, bro? It has been a long time. What's up with you? King Louis, Ray Charles saw that shit. Chocolatito outlanded dude by so much. I changed the channel when the fight was over. Yeah, it was crazy, man. Jay Banks, what's going on? Jay Banks and Sue A said, watch David Benavidez, but missed Estrada Gonzalez too. Ooh, yeah, you made the wrong choice on that one, player. You made the wrong choice on that one. Yeah, Benavidez, man, he just walked Ronald Ellis down. Ronald Ellis came to fight. Like, he came to fight.
But he's just smaller. He was just smaller. That's what I just saw. I just saw a man who was just smaller. Benavidez just fights too much small fighters to me.
Wait,
and that's what I just
if you
go on.
Jeff, real fast. Jeff and Shay, if you notice,
go ahead.
All the dudes he calls out are what?
Yeah, smaller guys.
Yeah,
smaller than him.
Always a smaller guy.
That's a fact.
Fight isn't happening is because of David Benavidez. Not nobody else, David Benavidez. But you hear him call out Charlo. You hear him call out Canelo. You hear him call out Young Berlanga. But I don't hear you talking about what's up with Better Beef. If you call out a guy smaller than you, then you could call out a guy bigger than you. Am I right?
Yeah,
he loses
to Bivol and Beterbiev. He loses to both of them.
Bro, he doesn't move up to 175. I don't even think he beats Joe Smith. I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't even think he beats Joe Smith. I don't even think he beats Joe Smith.
I think you're right.
Bro, he just fights guys who are smaller than him, literally. Like, and I'm gonna say something. You probably say I'm crazy. I don't even think he's got much power on a single. On a single, I don't even think he's got that much power, bro. On a single, no, I don't think so.
Yo, Ronald Ellis literally said in the corner, in a couple of rounds, like in between rounds, he was like, I'm good. He was like, he not really cracking like that. Like, David Benavidez hits you with accumulation. Like, his one-shot power is not really devastating. Like, YSM, would you agree with that, brother?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. What both of y'all said. He doesn't. And you can see it on the shots that it's not a hard shot. It's just so many of them. He just keeps coming.
He overwhelms people with
Yeah,
punches and size. That's it. He's overwhelming. Like I don't. Yeah, I agree. I can't lie. I just feel like a lot of that is just. Again, he's just a weight bully to me. He literally is just a weight bully.
Yo, does David Benavidez beat Caleb Plant right now?
I think he does. I think he does because he's just so much bigger than him.
What you think, YSM?
I'm not sure. I need to see. Like, okay, who do we see him against? Ronald Ellis, and we saw him against Anthony Durrell, who was 35 years old. So who did we really see him with that we can say like, damn, David Benavidez is just that guy? Like, I can at least say I seen Callum Smith beat George Groves. I'm not even sure about Caleb Plant yet until I see him up against a dog.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a true. That's a true
I
thing.
listen.
Was it,
I
YSM,
wouldn't even
was it
mind.
You were saying, YSM, was it you? You missed what I said, Jeff. I said I wanted to see Benavidez versus Chris Eubank Jr. I wanted to see that fight.
Ooh, that's a good fight. That's a good fight. That's a good fight. I think Benavidez wins, but that's a good fight. The only thing I'll say though, like the blueprint to beat Eubank, Benavidez doesn't necessarily fit the blueprint.
That's what YSM was saying. That's exactly what YSM
is that what he said?
That's exactly
Yeah, because
what
I think
YSM just said.
yeah, he doesn't necessarily fit the blueprint. When you fight a guy like Eubank, you keep it simple. Jab to the chest, jab to the head, followed up with a straight right hand, a little bit of movement, you good to go. You good to go against Eubank, but that's not David Benavidez's style. So that fight would be more interesting than people think, because David Benavidez's style kind of plays into Eubank's hands. He would be able to use his athleticism and things like that. So that's an interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight, even though Eubank is the smaller guy again. But
No, but
you know what I'm saying?
but the difference is though, I would say I trust Eubank to have the punch power plus the punch resistance and the engine, because what you realize is a lot of these guys, when they get stopped by Benavidez, they're just tired. They've just been overwhelmed with so much punches that they just ain't got nothing left. Eubank's got a good engine, so and he's gonna give as much as he gets. So I feel like he's gonna give Benavidez trouble. And I'm not saying Benavidez won't win, but he's gonna at least expose enough holes where you're gonna say, you know what, maybe another fighter might expose it if he was a bit bigger or a bit stronger or a bit smart.
I think Benavidez would stop him like 10th, 11th round, simply because he's just too big. Outside of that, I think it'll be a real interesting fight.
I mean, Benavidez is massive. Benavidez is actually massive.
Matter of fact, you know what? Let me get this out the way before I cut off again. Xfinity, I'm on your ass. Hey, YSM, remember we was on the phone, right? We was on the phone, and I was telling you, everybody that gets out of a top rank contract, they have to sit out. And I told you why, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Shane. That's another example of us bouncing information off of each other, because we was literally on the phone. It's me, it's YSM, it's Shido, Bushido Boxing. Big shout out to Shido. We all on the phone and we talking about top rank. And I'm like, yo, you mentioned anybody that is left top rank, they had to sit out because they contracts is where once you get to like a championship level, every fight that you have, your contract extends like at least 6 months to a year. That's why these guys can't get out of these contracts. Zerto, he had to sit out. Mikey Garcia, Mikey had to sit out. Everybody that top rank had to get rid of, what got away from top rank, they got them escalators in their contract. You know what I'm saying? They got them escalators in their contract. But that's another classic example of us bouncing information off of each other. And YSM has schooled me to so many things. That's why we were saying, like, it's so many levels to just boxing in terms of knowledge and things like that. And it's kind of hard to think outside of the box because you're so much of an insider. Like you're young, but you're so much of an insider. So you're always thinking insider.
I get that, but you also have to understand as well, just relaying what you just said, is it's when you're making an argument, the best way to make an argument is reference. You have, let's say, 30 years of references. YSM, I don't know how old you are, but you might have 30 years of references. When I mean references, I mean you can recall a time where something happened in the past and reference it to what's happening right now. Or do you remember when this happened to Joe Frazier? This is exactly what's happening to Anthony Joshua, for example. So you're able to reference certain things, what the governing body done then, what the governing body do now. My reference isn't that wide. So because of that, my viewpoint on a lot of things is obviously
like current.
naive. It's very, I wouldn't even say current because that's just nicing it up. It's very naive. Again, I remember even when I was speaking about drugs in boxing, and I still don't like to. Obviously, there's definitely guys who are doping, but people who say that's 90% of fighters on drugs, I still don't like to accept that as a reality, despite the fact that there's so much evidence proving it. So that's just the way it is. Sometimes, again, my enthusiasm for the sport is just what clouds my judgment, and I understand that, and I won't, and I'm not gonna act like it don't.
The
Jeff,
one thing
maybe we're just jaded.
Hey, you got a point. You got a point. Like for sure. The one thing though, like no matter what kind of personality we run into, no matter what kind of person we run into, the first thing I'm looking for, I'm like, do your ears work? Shane ears work. So that's why I'm like, even if he's not seeing things, a certain way, or we got to tell him this information for him to see it, Shane ears work. So I know he's going to be all right at the end of the day. But Shane reminds me of myself back at that age. I'm pretty sure YSM, you was the same way, just that young pup and like, yo, nobody's fucking with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's him. Like that's Shane all in a nutshell.
YSM,
like,
YSM, let me tell you a story. This is a funny story. Before one of my first ever like journalism gigs, I had to go abroad for it. And I remember telling Jeff, I'm like, oh, Jeff, I don't even know if I want to do this. I'm just like, I was nervous. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was nervous. And Jeff was like, bro, there's nothing even to be nervous about. See, when I got into there, and the first day, I was literally quiet like a church mouse. Literally so quiet. But I ended up having to do a job. Once I got the ball rolling and I got my confidence, bro, nobody in that room I just felt like I was LeBron. I just felt like I was just dunking on everybody that day. I'll never forget that day.
Yeah, and you know what? What fight was that, bro? What fight was that?
That was when I had to go. That was when I had to go Latvia for the World Boxing Super Series.
That was the night that Tabiti got knocked out. YSM.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Did he go under your credentials, Jeff, or his own?
No. I was working for Seconds Out those times.
Oh, you was working with Seconds Out. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I got a funny story that Shane may not even know.
Okay.
The first publication I worked for was out of where, Shane?
What they called?
I said, where was the first publication I worked for out of what country?
I'm assuming the States. I have to assume the States.
UK. I started off.
Oh, UK. Seriously, that's dope. What was the publication? Okay, wow, that's dope.
So I was a UK guy for a minute. I was the US correspondent.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. So yeah, I didn't even know that.
I owe them dudes everything, man. This is my guy.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah,
that's dope.
It's crazy. It's really crazy how things work out. You know what I'm saying? Just in the sport period. Let me get to the comments real quick. King Louis said Plant with a gas tank smashes David, but I don't know about Plant gas tank. I don't think he's ever really been pushed.
I was gonna say
that. Even know whether he has a gas tank or not. Yeah, why is you think he's been pushed at any point in his career to even push his gas tank?
No, Uzcategui was probably his toughest fight, but we all saw how that turned out.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I get.
Uzcategui fights with pace. He fights with pace, but you know, like Plant was still able to move around the ring and do his thing. So like he wasn't even pressing him like that. Brian 520, what's going on, bro?
Is he
We
new?
heard,
I've never
yeah,
seen
he
him
got
before.
it. He got to be new. Big shout out to you, Brian. Go definitely subscribe to the channel. Go subscribe to YSM Sports Media and follow us and all that. He said, Sewell A, don't get political. I'm assuming he's talking about the Chocolatito stuff.
Yeah.
But you know,
YSM jumped off. I was gonna say
yeah.
though, the Benavidez fight. It's a tricky one because personally, what do you want to see next for Benavidez? What do you want to see next?
To be honest with you, the stuff that I want to see from Benavidez, I'm probably not going to see it. Like, I want to see him. You know what would be a good fight, yo? Like David Benavidez and Badu Jack. I know Badu Jack is 175, but like that's a fight I would love to see. Outside of that, I would just a realistic one, 168. Man, I would love for him to fight Caleb Plant and the winner gets Canelo. Like, I don't feel like neither one of them earned a shot at Canelo. You know what I'm
Bro,
saying?
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I just feel like I want to see as much as the fight gets closer, and I know you're gonna laugh at me because I was talking all that smack. I want to see Billy Joe Saunders versus Canelo. I actually want to see that fight, and I'll
Are
tell you
we
why I want to see that fight.
is he on it? Is he on or is the nasal spray allowed?
I don't know. I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping it is. But the reason why I want to see the fight is because I actually like Billy Joe Saunders' mentality. That's the thing that I like the most.
No, he
I
got
just feel
dog
like
in him.
he's got so like he does not. He actually sees himself as the winner already, and I like that. I remember when I was watching Canelo and I saw Canelo. Who was he fighting the other day? Eugene. Eugene went in there with a losing mentality already, and to me, I saw when Danny Jacobs. I was the most fight I've been disappointed with from a fighter fighting Canelo was Jacobs, because I thought Danny Jacobs he showed Canelo way too much respect in that fight. He took way too long to step on the gas, way too long to start letting his hands go, and I was so disappointed with his performance.
Bro, let me make a statement first, and then I got a question for you. Everybody that's on this live, I appreciate you guys staying on. The thing that's crazy with the technical difficulty, Shane, is remember I told you the Ethernet cord, the problems that's going on with the box. Even if I had the Ethernet cord plugged in, it'd have did the same exact thing. Like it was just like it was just going. It was just the outage was just going in and out. But I appreciate you guys staying on, man. And like this is what happens when you go live. Like you don't know what's gonna happen. But I appreciate you guys staying on. Let me get a King Louis comment, then I'm gonna get to my question to you. He said, bruh, he went 12 with Caleb Truax, man. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is though, Caleb Truax, he's got stopped with one time. He's got stopped one time in his career.
Caleb Truax is battle hardened. He's been through the war.
Yeah, he's
not going to be faced by what Plant has.
Yeah, he's hard to get up. King Louis, I understand what you're saying, but it's hard to get Truax up out of there. It's hard to get Truax up out of there, like because he's crafty, but then he know how to survive too. Like so, they be the hardest people to get up out of there. Gator 557, what's going on, bro? He said, is it a possibility that the Chocolatito decision can be overturned?
No, it won't happen. It won't happen.
For gambling purposes, it'll never happen. That's why no fight will ever get overturned. Something might go to like a no contest, but it literally won't be one guy won and they switch it to the other guy winning.
Yeah, no, it don't happen. What's more likely to happen is like whoever was involved in that fight, they have to like if there was corruption, obviously the commission's gonna ban them or whatever, but they won't ever turn it from a win to a loss. But they will run it back. And the fight wasn't wide enough for it to even be taken to court. Like I've seen fighters that are look at what's it called? Pacquiao versus what's it called? Tim Bradley.
Yeah.
That was wider than that, and that fight wasn't even turned over. So
Right.
I mean, I've seen cards that's real wide, and I'm thinking, why don't you just? That's a clear robbery, but it wasn't seen as a robbery.
Yeah. For the people that's in the chat, in dedication to Marvin Hagler, put down where do you have Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns round 1? Is that a top 5 all time in terms of rounds?
Off the dome, I can't think of one better.
Yeah, I think that might have been the greatest round of all time, for sure. Hold on just a second, Shane. Hold on.
Yeah, there's another comment. Jeff had a question for me and he left. I don't know, King Louis, what were you laughing at? I don't even know what you were laughing at. You put laugh my ass off. I don't know what you're laughing at. But yeah, again, when you're talking about go on, ask your question, Jeff.
How do you feel about David Benavidez versus Danny Jacobs, 168?
I was gonna say that earlier, and I would have recommended that fight after I saw that fight against Rosado, I don't want to see Jacobs fight. Nobody. That fight was trash. That fight was trash.
Hey, man,
you know who I want to see? Bro, you need to. You know who I actually would want to see Benavidez fight? And this is me keeping it all the way 100. I want to see him move up and fight Marcus Brown. That's where I want to see him fight. That's where I want to see him fight.
That's a good fight. And to be honest with you, Marcus Brown has enough skill to actually give David Benavidez a whole lot of trouble.
But he's also chinny. Marcus Brown is also chinny.
But David Benavidez ain't got the best single neither.
That's why it's such a good fight.
Usually he gets checked by the guy with the good singles. Like Pascal got one of the best singles in the sport. His power is like unreal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Gator 57, he said, bothers me that Charlo resume don't get enough respect. DB beat Jalen Love. Like, come on now. Who you talking about? You said DB?
He's talking
David
about
Benavidez. David Benavidez. Yeah.
I watched that fight as well. What card was that on? I think that was an Errol Spence, Sean Porter. I think that was an Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Julian Love. The Julian Love fight. I think the David Benavidez was on the Errol Spence. Or Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence. It was on one of them.
I don't know. I don't know which one. Yeah, I don't know which one it was on, but I know I was debating not buying the pay-per-view because Jalen Love was actually in the co-main event. Like, I really had a problem with that. I had a real problem with that.
Which Charlo was he talking about?
Yeah, Gator 57. What Charlo are you talking about? You talking about Jamel or Jamal? Because those are two different resumes, two different stories.
I got a question for you. I asked you a question. Where do you rank the winner of Chocolatito and Estrada in your pound for pound list? I want you to answer that question now.
Can I answer your question with a question?
Go ahead.
Wherever you have the winner on the list, do you have Chocolatito ahead of Estrada on the pound for pound list?
Now this is my point. Personally, I feel so uncomfortable saying this, but I have Estrada ahead of Chocolatito, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I have Josh Taylor ahead of Prograis, but I thought Prograis won the fight, so I can't be a hypocrite. Do you see my point? I have Canelo in my top 5, even though I thought he lost to Austin Trout, even though I thought the Golovkin fight was close, even though I thought he lost to Erislandy Lara. Do you see my point? A lot of these guys have asterisks next to their resume, but when you look at their resume, it says win. That's why Crawford's number 1 for me.
Hey, bro, listen. For the people that's in the chat, the people that don't know, I like to throw occasional trap questions at Shane just to make sure he's still on point. And Shane, you are definitely on point. You are definitely on point. Estrada got the dub, and and you gave great examples as well.
I can't. Because it hurts me to say it, because bro, I swear to you, I thought Chocolatito won the fight. But when you look at pound for pound list, like these guys, a lot of these guys are hypocrites, because of the same people that have Canelo #1 are the same people that thought Canelo lost to Golovkin. You see my point? The same people that have Inoue #2 are the same people that saw Nonito Donaire almost knock Inoue out. So that's why Crawford has to be my #1, because there's no asterisk next to his name. There's none. There's no one you can say, oh, he could have lost, or he maybe lost, or it was a maybe draw. There was none. He literally won every fight so convincingly. So that's why he's my #1. And when it comes to Estrada, I just look at it and I'm thinking, does a close fight, and it is a close fight, I don't really care what anyone says, does a close fight overshadow your career? No, it don't. And I feel like he didn't get enough praise for his Rung Versailles win. I have to keep.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
When Rung Versailles stopped Chocolatito, nobody thought Estrada would win, and Chocolatito beat Estrada. Nobody gave Estrada a chance against Rung Versailles. Nobody gave him a chance. And when he won so convincingly, bro, I have to give him credit for that. I have to give him credit for that.
Bro, to answer your question, I have Estrada. I don't have an exact number yet, but off the top of the dome, Estrada is between 7 and 10 on my pound for pound list. He's between 7 and 10. He's in the back half of my pound for pound list, but he is on my pound for pound.
This is another example for you, because Jeff, to this day, still believes Sean Porter beat Errol Spence. But is Errol Spence not in your pound for pound top 5?
Correct.
So, bro, it's literally our opinions. It doesn't overshadow facts. And the facts are that as much as we think Chocolatito won, Estrada got the victory.
Right. And that's what it is. Gator57 said, I don't feel Benavidez fought anybody, and people act like Charlo a tomato can. I don't think anybody is thinking Charlo is a tomato can. Like I've never even heard that.
I think Charlo's way more credible than Benavidez. I think the reason why they don't want to see the fight is because Charlo's a 160 and Benavidez is a 180.
Right. He like damn near cruiserweight on fight night. Yeah, he said he's talking about Big Charlo. I actually think by names, Jermell Charlo, smaller Charlo, has a better resume than Jamal, but I personally am more impressed with Jamal's resume over Jermell.
He's shown me more
tools in the toolbox. He's shown me more tools in the toolbox.
I look at the Derevianchenko fight. That was a fantastic win. But it's the way he won that fight what I was so impressed with. And then the Matt Korobov fight. I think people sleep on that fight so much. Korobov is a really good fighter. And whilst it was a close fight, Charlo showed so much resilience to win that fight. I give him so much credit.
Yeah, that fight gets slept on because I'm like, when you watch your brother lose, you know, especially a controversial loss like that, and then to come out and basically go through the early stages of the fight, and basically you got to wake up, you know, against a guy that's good, and he's fighting southpaw. Yeah, and he's fighting southpaw.
300 amateur fights. This guy's not a guy they found out in a bar. This is a guy who's had so much amateur fights, like he's experienced. And for Charlo to do with that, there's no way I can disrespect Charlo's resume.
Yeah, Gator57 said, I hate to see Dennis Devlin take so many losses. I wish he trained with someone else other than his mom, respectfully. Let me get at that real quick. I hit up my bro L Dub Boxing, right? When they first announced the fight, I said, yo, this is gonna be a problem for Ammo. And L Dub gave me a perfect response. A big shout out to L Dub Boxing too. He said, G5, he said, Ammo, unanimous decision. He said, I'm going to tell you why. He said, Dennis Devlin has a sparring partner mentality. He said, and until he breaks out of that sparring partner mentality, then he's going to be taking losses. Because when you had a sparring partner mentality, sometimes you're just happy with being competitive. And that is so true. I reached out to Dennis Dublin. I told him congrats on the opportunity before the fight, and then I checked on him to make sure he was okay
He's
after
out of
the
the
fight.
Mayweather gym, innit? He's out of the Mayweather gym, innit?
He used to be in the Mayweather gym. But he's kind of like on his own now. But people don't realize he was locked up a week before he got called for that fight against Ammo Williams, and
What
people don't
for?
even know that. It was an
What
old
for?
charge. It was an old charge he had. An old warrant. It was an old warrant.
Does his mum train him?
That's
I mean, I saw
his
his
nick.
mum in the corner.
No,
I saw his mum in the corner.
his nickname is Mama's Boy. His mom literally trains him. He's like 22 and like 8 now. And the thing is,
No, I know who he is. I know who he is, but I think that's the first time. I mean, I saw his mum in the corner for the fight, for the Amma Williams fight, but I just thought I thought it was just for additional inspiration. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was for
hell no. His mom is literally and the thing is, yo, she be dropping this sauce on him too. Like she know her boxing. Like she knows her boxing.
There's
Like
nothing wrong with that. I mean, if a
she know
father
her
can be a
boxing.
trainer,
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm like, she ain't no worse than Angel Garcia. Like for Danny, I'm like, Angel Garcia don't tell Danny shit. Like he don't tell him shit in the corner. Like, you know what I'm saying? Technically, he don't tell him nothing.
Danny Garcia is probably one of my least favorite fighters to watch. Just to watch. I know he's from Philly, so I know you're gonna like him. But just to watch, he's just I hate literally Danny. I say this a lot and I use this analogy. Danny fights like he's in a strip club. All he does is throw singles. That's all he does is throw singles. That's all this guy does. All this guy does.
Hey, listen, the thing that's funny as hell, yeah. Hey man, if we can get some sponsorships from some nice ladies, you know, some strippers out here, you know, have a singles edition, you know what I'm saying? But the thing with Danny, this is why I love Danny, because number one, Danny resume is stamped, and I'm talking. I know people be like, oh, he fought Rod Salco, all this and all that. On the come up, Danny's resume was stamped, and the one thing Danny always had to fight against was he had to make in-game adjustments without his corner. And it's been like that since the beginning of his career. And that's no disrespect to Angel Garcia. But if you ever listen to Angel Garcia in the corner, he may tell Danny one thing. He may tell him one thing to look for, like within the first like half of the fight. And he'll repeat the same thing. Danny has to make adjustments in fight on his own without his corner. That's why I have so much respect for him. Even though you're correct, he throws he's lethal when he throws combinations, but he just don't.
But you know what I find annoying? I remember, and this is what I hate about his trainer. I was watching the Errol Spence fight, and for the whole fight, he was telling him something. And he was telling him an instruction. I'm like, why are you telling him this? And for the last round, it was the only time he told him the right instructions. He's like, you got to start putting them together. You still got to start putting twos and threes. You can't aim for the one single. I'm like, why didn't he tell him from the start? Why did you wait to the last round to tell him? And the last round was one of his best rounds. I thought, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. We got a couple more comments. What I'm gonna do, I know there's a lot that we didn't cover as far as the other cards. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go live tomorrow to cover the rest of these fights. But I'm gonna get through these comments real quick. Gator 57, he said he will be so dangerous once he learns how to actually box, knowing his range, etc. He's talking about Dennis Dublin. The thing is, bro, I think he's at a point now where he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's going to need to be very selective as far as his opponents, but because of the way his career is going, no promoter is going to offer him fights to where he can actually develop at his age. So pretty much
right now, he just needs to take on. What he has to do is that Amma Williams fight was actually a really good opportunity because it was a good platform. But to me, he needs an upset. He needs to come in as an opponent who, in my opinion, who people know who he is, and he's probably fighting a prospect, but he can pull off an upset. That's what I think.
Yeah, I
And
just
then
think
once you pull off an upset, you can get
I
some
think
wins together.
Ammo's very good. Like he's
Yeah,
not
he's
your
not the right.
typical,
It wasn't the
it
right
wasn't the
prospect.
right prospect. It wasn't the right prospect. Like he's
But
very, very good.
I do feel like it was a good idea though. I know why they did it, because that's the
Yeah,
only big fight they were gonna get, and he does need
absolutely.
to come in as a B-side to pull off an upset. That's how you
Right.
make a resurgence in
And
your career. I mean,
and
look
you
how
know
many
what?
fighters, even one of your favorite fighters,
He
that's how he became a big name, by basically being an opponent pulling off an upset, and then he ended up becoming a superstar. Bernard Hopkins.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing, you know what else Devlin might have to do? He might have to go overseas. He might have to come to the UK, get a couple, you know what I'm saying? Get a couple fights. And that's no disrespect to the UK, but I think he might just need a change in scenery, some guys that's more on his level in terms of talent, and really start trying to string some wins together. Because at this point he's going to have to change the narrative in his career. But Gator57 said, did y'all expect Terrell Gausha to beat Clark by second round knockout? No, I didn't.
No, hell no.
No, hell
Hell
no.
no.
Hell
Hell
no.
no.
Hell no. I actually
I
thought
was
Jamonte
impressed
Clark was
with
going.
that.
Yo, I actually thought Jamonte Clark was going to win that fight. I know I didn't do a breakdown and prediction video, but I thought Jamonte Clark was going to win that fight.
I said this to Jeff, and this is probably the I said this to Jeff. I said, for a fighter who hasn't fought in over a year to come back and get a second round knockout against a fighter with that much pedigree that's impressive. That's
Yeah,
impressive.
absolutely.
Terrell Gausha, I
Absolutely.
did not expect that one. Like I remember, and I mean Terrell Gausha, it makes Erickson Lubin's win over him look almost
Lubin's
fantastic,
stock went
because
up. Lubin's stock went up. Lubin's stock
Gausha.
went up.
I mean, right now, I'm not even gonna lie. The person who I'd like to see Gausha fight, I'd like to see Gausha fight someone like a Eris Landy Lara, someone like a J Rock, someone like a who else is out there? Even a Jarrett Hurd, someone a Madrimov, one of those guys.
Yeah, give me Gausha and Hurd. That's a good fight. Give me Gausha and Hurd. But no, I didn't. To answer your question, no, I didn't expect that at all. And I thought Clark was going to beat Terrell Gausha. But
Let me ask you a question. What does, outside of a rematch, what does the winner of Estrada and Chocolatito do, or is the only thing that's there is a rematch?
I think the only thing that's there is a rematch, because it's like when do you ever have an opportunity to have a money fight at that low of a weight class? So they
Trilogy.
got the public, the public push. There's also outrage, and then the fight was great. Like they have to do the trilogy. They have to do it.
If I was them, I would literally try to run the trilogy. Like literally get the. If I was Eddie Hearn, I'd be trying to sign a contract today to get the posters out for
I
next
would
week. I'm not
I
even
would
gonna lie.
listen. If there was such a hard fight, I would say push it to like September or something like that, but kind of like Cinco de Mayo weekend or something like that.
Yeah, no,
Put that
I
fight up.
definitely. But I mean, in terms of the promotion. Do you remember when
Oh
Dylan
yeah,
White
the
lost to
promotion.
Povetkin? Remember when
Yeah,
Dylan White lost to Povetkin? Literally, like
yeah,
2 days later, the rematch was announced. Like I've
yeah.
never seen a
The
rematch
next
so
week they was
fast.
like rematch. Like they was not
That's what
playing
I'll
them
be doing for
games.
this one.
Yeah,
Literally,
they
that's what
need
I'll
to
be
do the
doing for this
same
one.
thing. They need to do the same thing. But listen, we are going to close it out there. Like it's crazy because this has been a great conversation, but because of the technical issues, we just had some lapses in this one. So we're gonna have to do a part 2 to this one tomorrow. Where we gotta cover the rest. We gotta cover everything, man. Like we gotta cover Isaac Cruz Gonzalez. We haven't covered him yet. We have to also cover. We got to talk about the Terrell Gausha a little bit more. We didn't get him enough love. Raymond Ford. We got to show Ammo some love too. So it's a lot of things that we got to talk about. We also got to talk about Joseph Pablo Escobar Parker. We got to talk about him as well. As far as the whole drug thing and all that. We got to get into that. Hopefully I'll have this Marvin Hagler tribute done by tomorrow, and that could be another topic on deck. But I think tomorrow we're gonna do a part 2 to this, and we're gonna do this thing right. But it was so much to cover.
Following us on Instagram, those who aren't following us on Instagram, this week's a good week for us in terms of what we got popping. So just stay tuned. Just follow us on Instagram. If for those who aren't following us on Instagram, we got like a few guys jumping on live this week. So we even got T Woods got his win. So
yeah, big shout out to T Woods. Big shout out to Antonio Woods, man. He got his victory. He signed for 1-2 boxing. He's out of that Minnesota camp. Big shout out to T Woods. He is 5-0 now, middleweight. And middleweight is wide open. Middleweight is wide open. So, you know, we definitely
Gator 5'7" said something. You might want to read that.
Gator 5'7". I was in Andre Ward's gym with Mario Barrios. Got a rap with y'all about that. Gator 5'7", yeah, please do. And actually, that's where Mario Barrios actually made his name in terms of him being, because everybody in boxing know he a dog. He's a dog, but it was out of that gym. That was one of the gyms where he was really putting in some work. But Gator 5'7", we will be on tomorrow. We will be on tomorrow. Just for the people that don't know, we're gonna have new signee of Salida Promotions. Rising middleweight from fighting out of Minnesota. He's originally from Iowa. Cruz Hitman Stewart. We're gonna have him on the show this Tuesday. It's going down. That's gonna be an interesting interview. You do not want to miss that. But we will be on tomorrow to do part 2 of this to cover everything that happened over the weekend. Marvin Hagler and you know, we're gonna cover Joseph Parker. We're gonna get everything all done. It's gonna be a long one tomorrow. It's gonna be a long live tomorrow, and
overtime.
We got to do some overtime because that's really gonna be the only day we're gonna do actual live without interviews. Like we got interviews set up for Tuesday, we got an interview set up for Wednesday, and we got an interview set up for either Thursday or Friday. So it's on.
Could be both.
It's on.
Could be both, just depending on the availability. But yeah.
Yeah, it could be both. But Shane, give them your social media.
I_am Shane, the #1. Jeff should put it up. Hey, this guy's frozen again. It's a good thing we're coming off live because this guy's frozen. Was it me that was frozen or was it you?
No, that was you this time. I was just on mute. I just put myself on mute because somebody called my phone. But yeah, follow Shane. I_am Shane, the #1. Definitely go follow him on Instagram. You can follow me, of course, here, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Everything's G5 Jeff TV all across the board. And again, we are going to do part 2 of this tomorrow. I promise you, you know, Lord willing, no technical issues. And we're going to get it everything. Tomorrow is going to be a very long live because we got to cover a lot of stuff. And it's going to be official. But G5 Jeff TV is on the move. We're starting to do actual interviews with fighters now. And probably from here on out, you're probably going to be seeing interviews at least once a week. At least once a week. I can pretty much guarantee that. Like once a week, we're going to have somebody on this live. You know, so it's just all about building momentum, you know, and it starts with the VP, starts with Shane. Big shout out to BoxingFirst Vlog. And it's a lot of guys that contribute, you know what I'm saying? YSM, big shout out to him. Bushido, big shout out to Shido. DT3 the Boom, man, big shout out to him. And it's just a lot of people that's just supporting what we do. So we're going to get back at it tomorrow. Definitely follow us on social media. We'll let you know the time. But once you see us on live, know we're going to be on for at least 2 hours plus. 2 hours plus, we going to chop it up. But on behalf of the VP, Shane, and G5 Jeff TV, we are out.